Hi everyone, and welcome to another one of my videos. This is an answers and work solutions video that takes you through this booklet, which is set 8 paper 2F, and if you're in my class we're calling this booklet 23. As you can see, it's a calculator paper, so make sure you're using a calculator on all the questions. You don't get more marks for not using a calculator, it just slows you down and you make mistakes just like everybody else does. When it's a calculator paper, you need to make sure that you're showing all your working out. Okay, now the way I want you to use this video, same old story I know, is to focus on understanding. You don't lack the answers, you've got the answers in front of you. What you need is the understanding of how to do a similar kind of question. So when you're watching this video, never write and watch the video at the same time. Just focus on understanding. Stop writing, close your booklet up and just watch the video. Try and understand. Once you've watched the video on that part of the question, stop it, shut down the screen, and then you try and do the question. If at any time you lose your way or you need a bit more help, stop writing and watch the video once again. Okay, the golden rule, as I said before, is never write and watch the video at the same time. If you watch the video several times and it still doesn't help you on a particular question, then obviously come and ask me and I'm happy to help you. Okay, let's crack on. Now, first few questions should be really easy and we've got to really concentrate on not dropping any marks. So 0.63 is a fraction. Well, the first column here is the tenths and the 3 here is the hundredths. So it's 63 over 100. Write 46,821 correct to the nearest hundred. Well, it's 821, which is closer to 800 than it is to 900, so you write it as 46,800. Write 73.654 correct to one decimal place. That means you're going to cut off these numbers here. You look at the first digit, that's the one to look at, and if it's 5 or more, you make this one more, because the 5 or more means it's closer to 7 than it will be to 6. So it's 73.7. Write 0.09 as a percentage. Well, just multiply it by 100, you get 9%. Okay, or another way of looking at it is it's 9 hundredths. That's what this column stands for. Here are your tenths and here are your hundredths. So it's 9 hundredths, 9 out of 100, so it's 9%. Question 5. Write 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 as a power of 5. So it's 7 to the power of 5. Make sure you write that number small and up there, okay? Don't get it confused with 75 for the person marking. Show that 64 is both a square number and a cube number. Well, it's because 4 cubed is 64 and 8 squared is 64. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64 and 8 times 8 is 64. So it's a cube number and it's a square number. Find the value of 11 cubed. Make sure you use a calculator. It's simply 11 times 11 times 11. Work that out on your calculator. 1,331. Find the value of the square root of 98.01. Type it into your calculator. Easy mark. £3 kilograms of potatoes and 2 kilograms of apples cost a total of £7.33. 4 kilograms of potatoes cost £3.80. Work out the cost of a kilogram of apples. So we're told that 4 kilograms of potatoes are £3.80. So if we share that by 4, we will find out that 1 kilogram of potatoes weigh or costs 0.95 or 95 pence. Okay. Now in this deal here, we've got 3 kilograms of potatoes. So we can now we know that 1 kilogram is 95 pence. We can simply multiply that by 3 and we get the cost of the 3 kilograms of potatoes. So we know that this makes £7.33, but we've just worked out that the potatoes are costing £2.85. So we take that £2.85 away from the £7.33. What's left is £4.48, and that's the price of 2 kilograms of apples. So now we're simply going to half that number, divide it by 2 to find the price of 1 kilogram of apples, £2.24. Question 10. Joseph buys some heating oil. He puts it in his oil tank. The scales show the numbers of litres of oil in the tank immediately before and immediately after Joseph puts the oil in the tank. The oil Joseph buys costs 0.4 or 40 cents or euros per litre. Work out the total cost of the oil that Joseph buys. So first of all, we've got to work out how much he's bought. Well, it was at 400 when he started, and after he put the oil in, it came up to 1300. So the amount of oil that he's used is the difference between those. Okay, take that 400 away from that 1300, and that's the extra that's been added, and it's 900 litres. And now we simply multiply that by 0.4, which gives me 360 euros. Question 11. Work out the value of 10.4 divided by 5.1 minus 2.7 plus 6.8 minus 3.2 divided by 9.5. Give your answer as a decimal. Write all the figures on your calculator display. Now, you've got to be careful here, because if you type in 10.4 divided by 5.1 minus 2.7 and don't use brackets, it will do 10.4 divided by 5.1, and whatever that answer is, it will then subtract 2.7. And you don't want that. You want to work out this answer first of all before you divide it into 10.4. Now, you could use your fraction button on this, or you could use the divide button. Either way, you'll still need to use brackets, and so you will type 10.4 divided by, then press brackets, 5.1 minus 2.7, then press brackets, okay, plus brackets, 6.8 minus 3.2, close brackets, divided by 9.5. Now every time I said divided by, you could use the fraction button on your calculator, either way, but you must use the brackets, okay, because otherwise your calculation won't be right. Okay, if you do it right, you should get that. So basically, if you get that, you know you've done it right. But if you don't get it, you've made a mistake. Okay, so one more time, 10.4 divided by, open brackets, 5.1 minus 2.7, close brackets, plus, open brackets, 6.8 minus 3.2, close brackets. So we work this answer out first before we divide by 9.5, then divide by 9.5. Okay? Give your answer to part A correct to 3 significant figures. So 1, 2, 3 significant figures. Here's the first digit we're getting rid of. So it's like when we round to decimal places, you look at the first digit you're getting rid of. It's less than 5, and so we just forget about it. So it's literally 4.71. Question 12. Here's a pattern of a sequence of patterns made from dots. Right, okay, that's pretty straightforward. Draw pattern number 4 in the space above. So you've got 1, 2, you've got 1, 2, 3, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next one needs to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots. Okay. Complete the table. Pattern number and number of dots. Okay. Now that one is easy because you can see we're simply adding 4 here. Okay. So 5 will be 20. Work out the number of dots in pattern number 13. Well, you can see here that the teacher has literally written out the pattern number and underneath written down the number of dots. And that's fine because number 13 isn't too far away and it doesn't take that much work to count on 4s every single time. Another way of doing it would be simply to multiply by 4, because if you multiply that by 4 you get that, multiply that by 4 you get that, multiply that by 4 you get that. Okay? In fact, that rule is what we need here. Find an expression in terms of n for the number of dots in pattern number n. So pattern number n, this is the pattern number, okay? This is our n. And we're basically saying, what do we do to this number to make it into this number? Well, whatever this n is, this number, we multiply it by 4 to get the number below it. So when it's 7, it's 4 times 7. When it's 10, it's 4 times 10. So it's 4n, because whatever that number is will get multiplied by 4, 4n. Then in E, it says there are fewer than 90 dots in pattern number K. What is the largest possible value of K? So pattern number K will have 4 times K dots in it. Okay, because whatever number you have here, you multiply it by 4 to get the number of dots. So we know that 4k, 4 times k, must be less than 90. And therefore k must be less than 22.5. And k is a whole number. It's a pattern number. It can only be a number, whole number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can't have pattern number 1.5 or 22.5. Okay, so if it's got to be less than 22.5, it has to be 22. That's the biggest it can be. Another way of doing it is to just simply find the pattern number and the number of dots. So pattern number 21 would have 4 times 21, that's 84 dots. Pattern number 22 would have 4 times 22, that's 88 dots. Pattern number 23 would have 4 times 23, that's 92 dots, and we've gone over 90. Okay, so the biggest pattern number we could possibly have was 22, because 4 times 22 is 88, and 4 times 23 is more than 90. So 22 is the biggest pattern number you can have. 13. The table shows information about weights in kilograms of 40 parcels. Write down the modal class. Now the modal class is the thing with the highest frequency. So here's the highest frequency. So you write down this. Okay? And that's what you write down there, and you pick up a mark. Work out an estimate for the mean weight of the parcels. Now what we do when it says work out an estimate for the mean weight sounds complicated, because you're working out, which sounds like it's accurate, an estimate, which sounds like it's rough. So it sounds a little bit confusing. Whenever you hear work out an estimate, you always got to do midpoints. Let me explain. Here we've got 19 parcels that are somewhere between 0 and 1 kilogram. We've got 12 parcels that are more than 1 kilogram but less than or equal to 2. We've got 5 parcels that are more than 5 up to and including 3. But we don't actually know what those parcels weigh. We've got 19 parcels and they're somewhere between 0 and 1. Well, what are they? We don't know. So what we do is we make a guess, and we say, well, let's just say on average that the average of those parcels is 0.5, halfway between these two numbers. Okay, that's where our estimate comes from. We've got 12 parcels that are somewhere between 1 and 2 kilograms. So let's just say on average they're 1.5. Okay, so this midpoint here is always the halfway mark between these two numbers here. Whatever those two numbers are, that is the midpoint. Now, we've got 19 parcels, and we're saying on average that each one weighs 0.5 kilograms. So together, those 19 parcels, multiply those two numbers together, weigh 9.5 kilograms. We've got 12 parcels here, and we're saying on average they weigh 1.5 kilograms. So 12 times 1.5 is 18. Multiplying these two numbers each time gives us this, and adding this up gives us the total weight of all the parcels, or our estimate for the total weight. So altogether we've got 40 parcels, because we add up these numbers. There's 19 parcels here, 12 here, 5 here, 2 here, 2 here, so add them up and you get 40. There's 40 parcels, and on average, or the total weight of them rather, is 56 kilograms. So now we can work out our estimate. It's simply the total weight divided by how many there were. 56 divided by 40, 1.4, and that's our estimate. ABCD is a quadrilateral. ADE is an equilateral triangle. DCF is a straight line. DCF is a straight line. Work out the size of angle EAB. EAB. Right. So we've got to work out what this angle is. This is our plan. Angle EAB is E to A to B. So it's this big angle here. Okay? So we've got to work out this angle, and we've got to work out this angle, and then add them together. Give a reason for each stage of your working, and that's really important. The more working and the more reasons you give, the more marks you're going to get here. Don't put down any reasons, don't get many marks, maybe none. So angles in an equilateral triangle are the same, so 180 divided by 3 is 60. So each of these angles here is 60. We can get a mark for that. Angles on a straight line add up to 180, so this must be 72 to add with that to make 180. Okay, so now we've got 1, 2, and that's 90 degrees, 3 angles inside a quadrilateral. What do we know about the angles in a quadrilateral? They add up to 360. So 1, 2, 3, 4 angles there, adding up to 360. We'll add up what we've got. 135, add 72, add 90. Don't forget, this person's written it like this, but you can use a calculator. Use a calculator. Gives you 297, and then subtract that 297 away from 360. I don't know why the teacher's not used the calculator. It's a calculator paper. Make sure you use a calculator. You get an answer of 63 degrees. So we've worked out earlier that that was 60 because it's in an equilateral triangle. We've worked out that part is 63 because it's inside a quadrilateral. And so the total is going to be 123 got by adding these two angles together. Question 15. Last Thursday, 135 students bought one item of fruit. The table shows information about the 135 items of fruit they bought. One of the 135 students is chosen at random. Find the probability that this student bought an apple or a banana. Well, there were 36 students who bought an apple, 33 who ate or bought a banana, and so in total that's 69. So 69 people out of the 135 bought either apple or banana. So that's our probability, 69 out of 135. A pie chart is drawn for the information in the table. Work out the size of the angle in the pie chart for oranges. Right. Well, the idea about a pie chart is it shows a fraction. If a quarter of the people bought an orange, then they will get a quarter of the pie. If a third of the people bought an orange, a third of the slice or a third of the pie would be given to them. If 52% of people bought orange, then 52% of the pie chart would be orange. That's the way it works. So the fraction that we've got is 27 out of 135. That's the fraction of the people. So therefore it's going to be that fraction of 360, which is 72. Another way to do it would be to say, okay, if I was going to draw a pie chart, what would I do? I'd add up all these people, it comes to 135, and I would divide 360 by those 135 people. And that would give me an answer of 2.66666666. Okay, so roughly 2.666 degrees for every person. And 27 people got orange, so it's 27 lots of 2.6666. Don't round it. Don't round 2.6. Okay, so once again, 360 divided by 135 people means that each person gets 2.66666 degrees. That's one person, so multiply it by 27 to get what 27 people would have, and you get the same answer. Question 16. Find the value of 25 minus 4g when g is minus 3. Now, 25 take away 4g. Well, g is minus 3, and 4 times minus 3 is minus 12. So it's 25 minus 12, which is plus. So it's 25 add 12, 37. Or you could think of it as being 25 and minus 4 times minus 3 is 12. Either way, these two negatives make a positive. So it's 25 add 12, 37. Expand and simplify. So what we've got to do is expand and then simplify. So we've got three parts to this thing. The 7 is just there and we're going to leave that alone. We're going to expand this bracket. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times 1 is x. So remember, we multiply the things inside the bracket by the thing that is outside the bracket. X times 2x is 2x squared. X times 1 is x. And then here, 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. So that's the expanding bit done. If we've done that right, we get a mark. And now we're going to do the simplifying. Well, 2x squared sits on its own because there's no other x squareds. But we've got a 3x and an x here, so they can add together to make 4x. And we've got minus 6 and we've got plus 7. And when we put those together, it will make 1. So we get 2x squared plus 4x plus 1. This is what you get when you expand. And this is it, the same thing, simplified. Question 17 says a wooden box measures 30 centimeters by 15 centimeters by 32, and the box has a lid, and that's important. A carton measures 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters by 5 centimeters. James has 110 cartons. He wants to put all these cartons in the box and be able to shut the lid. Can James put all 110 cartons in the box and shut the lid? Show you're working clearly. Now, this is not an accurate drawing, and you can see that actually, if this was 30 and 15 and this was 32, this, if drawn accurately, would be much smaller. But the trick to do it is to work out or compare the length of the carton with the length of the box, the width of the carton with the width of the box, and the height of the carton with the height of the box. Just imagine that you're putting these cartons inside this box. How many would fit along this edge from here to here? Well, that's 30, and this is 5, and 30 divided by 5 is 6. So 6 of these cartons would fit in a row here, and you can see the teacher's drawn them in. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So 6 cartons are fitting here. Now, how many rows of 6 could be fit in the bottom of this box? Well, that's 15, and that's 5, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. So you can see once again he's drawn those in. So we've got 3 rows of 6, making 18 cartons in a layer. So if there are 18 cartons in a layer, how many layers could we fit inside this box? Well, compare that 5 with that 32. 32 divided by 5 is 6 remainder 2, or 6.4. And that means we've got enough for 6 boxes, but not enough for 7. So every layer's got 18, and we could fit 6 layers into this box. 6 times 18 is 108. Now we've started off with 110 cartons, and it says, can you put all 110 cartons in the box and shut the lid? That's why the lid was important. Okay, and we can't, because we can only fit in 108. Question 18. Work out the difference between the largest share and the smallest share when 3,450 yen is divided in the ratios 2 to 6 to 7. So first of all, we've got to work out what each person's getting. 2 plus 6 plus 7 gives me 15 shares in total. So we've got to divide this amount of money by 15, and we get 230 yen per share. This person gets 2 of those shares. 2 times 230, 460. That's the smallest share. This person gets 7 shares, so 7 lots of 230, 1,610, and that's the largest share. Okay, the teacher, you can see, has worked out the middle share. They didn't really need to do that, but there's no harm. So the question asks us, what is the difference between the largest share and the smallest share? So it's going to be largest share, take away smallest share, 1,150. Another way of doing it is work out that it's £230 or yen per share, and then say the difference between these two is 5. Okay, and 5 lots of 230 is also 1,150. That's another way of doing it. Question 19 says Gopal is paid £20,000 each month. Jamuna is paid £19,200 each month. Gopal and Jamuna are both given an increase in their monthly pay, and after the increase they are both paid the same amount each month. Gopal was given an increase of 8%. Work out the percentage increase that Jamuna was given. So first of all, we need to work out how much money they're being paid now. Now we know that Gopal is paid £20,000 and he got an increase of 8%. So we need to increase this by 8%. One way, a good way, the way that I use, to find an 8% increase is to multiply it by 1.08. Okay, because 0.08 is the decimal partner for 8%. So if you increase something by 8%, you'll have one lot of it plus an extra 0.08. So to find 8%, multiply by 0.08. To increase by 8%, multiply it by 1.08. In the same way, if you wanted to increase by 15%, multiply by 1.15. If you wanted to increase by 22%, multiply by 1.22. Anyway, back to the 8%. 20,000 times 1.08 is 21,600. So this is the amount that both of them get now. So we need to find out what percentage increase would take 19,200 up to this amount. Now when you want to work out a percentage increase, it's the change divided by the original. So for Jamuna, the change would be the difference between what she gets now and what she used to get. Now the teacher hasn't written it down here, but the increase here is actually 2,400. So she's received a £2,400 increase. Okay, so the percentage increase is that amount, 2,400, divided by the original. So remember, it's the change divided by the original multiplied by 100. Okay, and that gives you 12.5%. Now, even if you couldn't do this bit, you could work out what Gopal gets. If you could work out that part, that would get you some marks. So do what you can do. Question 20 said there are some people in a cinema. 3/5 of the people in the cinema are children. For the children in the cinema, the number of girls to the number of boys is 2 to 7. There are 170 girls in the cinema. Work out the number of adults in the cinema. So this question is made complicated because there's a lot of writing and a lot of numbers, and we just got to take our time and just work out what we've got and just start working out something. Okay, so don't get flummoxed by the fact that you've got lots of numbers and lots of writing. Let's just set out what we've got. Well, we know that the ratio of girls to boys is in the ratio 2 to 7, and we know that the number of girls is 170. So if 2 shares is 170, then 1 share would be 85. In that case, 7 shares for the boys would be 7 lots of 85, 595. So we've worked out now that there are 595 boys. Whoops. Now adding those together, the boys and the girls, tells us that there are 765 children. Now, the way that this teacher's done it is to say that they are in the ratio 3 to 2 because there are 3/5 are children, so 2/5 are adults. Okay? And they've done it as a ratio thing. If you're happy with that, that's fine. The way I would do it is I'd say to myself, well, 765 children are 3/5. Okay? So if I divide that by 3, I'll get 255. That's what 1/5 will be. And if 1/5 is 255, then the adults is 2/5, so it'll be 2 lots of 255, which is 510. So once again, there are 765 children, and that is 3/5 of the people in the cinema. So this is 3/5. I need to find the number of adults, and that is 2/5. So if I take this and divide it by 3, because it's 3/5, I'll get an answer of 255. So that is what 1/5 is. If that's 3/5, 1/5 is 255. And the adults are 2/5, so they will be 2 lots of 255, which is 510. Question 21. The diagram shows 2 cylinders A and B. Cylinder A has a height of 1.6 and a radius of 0.56. Work out the curved surface area of cylinder A. Give your answer in square meters correct to 3 significant figures. Now in this particular working out the teacher's done, they've worked out the area of the top and bottom as well, and I want you to ignore that because that part isn't asked for. It says the curved surface area, and what they mean when they say the curved surface area is the bit that wraps round, like the label, round the outside of the cylinder. The surface area consists of this circle here on the top and the circle on the base and the curved surface area that wraps round it. Okay, and that's the bit we want. So we don't actually want the area of the top and bottom, just the curved surface. Now the way we do that is this. If you imagine just cutting down here with a pair of scissors and taking the label off, okay, what would you get? It would wrap round here. It would be a rectangle, wouldn't it? The rectangle would be this high, and how long would it be? Well, it would wrap round the outside of this circle. So the length of the rectangle would be the circumference of the circle because it wrapped round it. And the circumference of the circle is pi d. So it's pi d, because that's the length of the rectangle, times 1.6, because that would be the height of the rectangle. And that gives you this answer here, 5.6297 blah 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 blah. Okay? Now that is the answer you're looking for. This answer is what you get when you add on the top and bottom. That's not what's needed, just this one here. The next part says cylinder B is mathematically similar to cylinder A, and the height of cylinder B is 0.6 meters. Work out the radius of cylinder B. So we need to understand what mathematically similar means. Two shapes are similar or mathematically similar if one can be enlarged to make the other. Okay, so basically it means that this has been enlarged to make that. Okay, so however many times that is compared to that, it will be the same amount of that compared to that, or that compared to that. All the dimensions have been increased by the same amount. So if we look at the heights here, this is 0.6 and this is 1.6. So dividing those gives me 0.375. Okay, that means that that is 0.375 of that. And in the same way, all the lengths on here will be 0.375 lots of whatever they are here. And we've got to find out what the radius of this cylinder is. Well, this one is 0.56. So this one will be 0.56 times 0.375, because all the dimensions will be 0.375 of what they are here. So the radius on here is 56, or 0.56. Multiply it by 0.375 gives you 0.21. M, N and P are points on a circle. MON is the diameter of the circle. MP equals 3.5 centimeters. PN is 9.7 centimeters. Angle MPN is 90 degrees. Work out the circumference of the circle. Give your answer correct to three significant figures. Well, we've got a right angled triangle here, and we've got two lengths. So whenever you see two lengths and right angled triangle, you should be thinking about Pythagoras and maybe trigonometry. The fact that it's inside a circle doesn't matter. First of all, we've got to work out this diameter. Okay, and the diameter is also the hypotenuse of this triangle. So 3.5 squared plus 9.7 squared, and then square root it, gives me 10.31 blah 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 blah. So that is the diameter of this circle. And then it says work out the circumference of the circle. Okay, so we need to take this and we need to multiply it by pi times d. Okay, and then when we multiply that, we get this answer here of 32.396. We're going to round here because it says three significant figures, and we get 32.4. So in summary, pi times diameter gives us the circumference of a circle. We need to work out the diameter using Pythagoras in this right angled triangle here. Square both numbers, add them together, square root your final answer, and we get the diameter. Okay, question 23. Find the value of x. Give your answer correct to three significant figures. Okay, so here we are. We've got this triangle here, and the question involves the adjacent and the hypotenuse. So adjacent and hypotenuse tells me it's cosine, adjacent and hypotenuse. Sickness on holiday comes after having tons of alcohol. If you're in my class, remember we draw those formula triangles. Okay, now just ignore that bit for the time being. If you're going to work out the hypotenuse, cover it up, and what you get left with is adjacent divided by cos. So the hypotenuse is going to be adjacent divided by the cos of 52 degrees. Okay, and we give this answer, and then we round it to three significant figures. So one last time, look at the triangle, identify the sides. For this angle, this is the adjacent, the side that's next to the angle. This is the hypotenuse, the longest side, the side that's opposite the right angle. Okay, then using sickness on holiday comes after having tons of alcohol, choose the ratio that uses adjacent and hypotenuse. It's cos. Go to your formula triangle. Cover up the thing you're trying to find out. It's hypotenuse. When you cover it up, you get adjacent divided by cos of the angle. You get 20.465, and then you round that to three significant figures. Okay, what's the next question? So question 24 says solve the simultaneous equations x plus y is 15 and 7x minus 5y is 3. Now we haven't done simultaneous equations, but I'll just take you through what the teacher's done here. The way to solve simultaneous equations is we're looking for an x and a y that are going to make x add y 15, and at the same time are going to make 7x minus 5y equal to 3. It's got to make both of them work. All right. Now, the way to solve a simultaneous equation is to make the same amount of x or the same amount of y and then subtract one equation from the other. Okay, now I'll tell you why or show you why in a second. So what the teacher's done is they've chosen to make the same amount of x here. So we're going to multiply that by 7 because that's 7. But we need to multiply that by 7 and that by 7. So we've got 7x add 7y is 105. That's just that equation multiplied by 7. We've written underneath the original equation we had here. Okay. Now the next step is subtract this equation from this one, being careful with this negative we've got. So 7x, take the 7x, is nothing. 7y, take away minus 5y, is 12, because remember, when you take away a minus, it's positive. So it's 7y, add 5y, 12y. 105 take away 3, 102. So this is why we made the same amount of x's, because when we take the equation away from this one, the x's wipe each other out and we're just left with y's. Okay, we could have done the same thing to the y's and taken it away and got rid of the y's. Okay, it doesn't really matter, but that's what the teacher chose to do here. So we've got 12y is 102, and now we can work out that y will be 102 divided by 12, which is 8.5. So we've worked out now that y must be 8.5. And what we do now is we work out what the x must be. So go to the most simple equation, which is this one here. X plus y is 15. Well, if y is 8.5, what would you add to 8.5 to make 15? Answer, 6.5. So our answers are that x is 6.5 and y is 8.5. Okay, I think that is the last question. No, it's not. Crikey. Right. Tenzin walks in the mountains. She has a rule to estimate the temperature at different heights on the mountain. Temperature decreases by 2 degrees for every increase of 300 meters in height. The temperature at a height of 800 meters on a mountain is 6 degrees. Use Tenzin's rule to work out an estimate of the temperature at a height of 2000 meters on the mountain. So the way the teacher's done it here, in order not to make any mistakes, is there they are at 800 meters and the temperature is 6 degrees. And it says the temperature decreases by 2 degrees for every increase of 300 meters. So he added on 300 meters. So at that height, it will have gone down 2 degrees. It will be 4 degrees. He added on another 300 meters. At this height, it will have gone down a further 2 degrees. It's now 2 degrees. Added on another 300, took away 2. Added on another 300, took away 2. So at 2000 meters, it's minus 2. Okay, that's probably the most straightforward way of doing it and just writing it out. Or you could have said, okay, well, 2000 take away 800 is 1200. That's the increase in height. Okay, 1200 divided by 300 is 4. So that means we've got to take away that 4 times. 4 lots of 2 is 8. That's how much it decreased by. 6 take away 8 minus 2. The last part says Tenzin also has a rule to estimate the time it will take her to complete a walk in the mountains. She uses an average speed of 5 kilometers per hour for the distance she will walk, and then adds on 1 minute for every increase of 10 meters in height. Tenzin plans to walk 12 kilometers in the mountains with an increase of 800 meters in height. Use Tenzin's rule to work out an estimate for the time it will take her to complete this walk. Give your hours time in hours and minutes. Well, we're traveling at 12 kilometers in the mountains. Okay, so 12 divided by 5, distance divided by speed gives you the time. Remember your formula triangle. So 12 divided by 5 gives you 2.4. Okay, 2.4 hours. Now 0.4 hours, okay, don't write it as 2 hours 40, 2.4. Now times that 0.4 by 60, because there's 60 minutes in an hour, gives you 24 minutes. So there will be 2 hours, 24 minutes. Okay, one more time. Distance divided by speed gives you time. 12 divided by 5 gives you 2.4. 2 hours and 0.4 of an hour. 0.4 times 60, because there's 60 minutes in an hour, gives you 2 hours 24. So if this was level and she wasn't going up any height, it would take her, according to her estimate, 2 hours 24 to walk 12 kilometers. But she is going up in height. She's going up 800 meters. And she says she's going to add on 1 minute for every 10 meters she goes up. So 800 divided by 10 gives you 80. And that's 80 minutes she needs to add on. 80 minutes is going to be 1 hour 20. So the flat part of the walking is 2 hours 24, but because she's also going up, she's going to add on an extra 1 hour 20, and that gives you a total of 2 hours 44 minutes. Okay, now I thought this booklet was pretty tricky. I don't think that your one you're going to be sitting is going to be as difficult as this. There were some rotten questions on here, okay, but if you can do them and do these ones confidently, then wow, you are going to eat the questions in their exam for breakfast. Okay, happy to go over any of these questions one more time with you personally. Okay, cheers guys, thank you, bye.